'Tis the season to chat about finances. I feel like that's always the season around here. What do you think?
Let's do it. Welcome back to the Banking Bros Podcast. I am your co-host, Jay Dew.
And I'm Jonah.
We're walking and talking through creating code-cracking cash flow for
right.
you and yours. We're finishing up the 2024 season of our weekly podcast, and we want to make sure you know in 2025, things are only going to get bigger, bolder, better. We have got a creative team we're putting together right now for more content for you and whatever stage and area you are in your financial journey, so you can understand how you can get into that code-cracking cash flow control mode. It's all about a culture of control around here. And Jonah, the people are ready for some more diversity, I think, in our topics.
I think so too. That's why we are getting a little better with how we're going to plan out, perform, record these podcasts and video cast episodes, because we want to make sure that we're giving the people what they want, right?
Give it to them. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you are listening to us right now, reminder, you can find us on YouTube. And if you subscribe at the Banking Bros, you're going to be notified with that bell on our new production. We've got shorts. Some of you are into the YouTube shorts, and some of you are not yet.
Yeah, if they're not, they should be.
They should be, because we got the goods that's going to take you to the next level, a whole nother level. Ladies and gentlemen, it doesn't matter what you're calling it out there. If it's the Rockefeller method, the waterfall system, infinite banking, those of you who crazily call it infinity banking.
I've heard that one or two times.
I hear it once or twice a week on
I got to be honest
social.
with you. I have not heard the waterfall method very often, and I don't understand why they would call it that. Explain that. Explain that one.
So if you think back to the godfather of family banking, not the godfather, I would say the godson. The godfather is going to be Mayer Rothschild.
Sure.
And then the godson, I guess, is going to be John D. Rockefeller.
Sure.
So what business was he in? Trivia time.
Rockefeller, I don't know. Is it railroads? Was Rockefeller railroads or oil?
That's Carnegie Steel, railroading.
Okay.
Vanderbilt.
Sure.
And oil, yes.
Rockefeller was oil?
Standard Oil, ladies and gents. So what he did is he set up the trust, the family trust, to own the life insurance policies.
Yep.
So when people died, it waterfalled to the next generation.
I understand.
There you go.
Okay.
See, now you know everything.
Well,
I'm saying, no, you do. Like, you understand what it meant.
The waterfall.
The waterfall. It would automatically waterfall to the next generation. So I've heard, actually, from another great guru out there that we had a chance to meet. I've spoken on stage with him, Garrett Gunderson, who called it the Rockefeller. What was the name? What would the Rockefellers do? Right? He changed the name because they found him. The family office that still manages the money. It is 7 generations deep, the waterfall at this point, and it is approximately 150 people.
That's a lot of people.
150 people. John D. down, it's 150 people now, 7 generations deep in the waterfall.
That's crazy, actually.
So they said, hey, don't use our name. It's a real family. Don't. Remember. So he changed it. What would billionaires do? So anyway, that's what it's all about. So ladies and gentlemen, if you'd like to create that type of legacy, you're in the right place. Watch us on all of our social platforms. Listen to us on this podcast, and don't forget to share it with a friend. Jonah, in this past week, before we get into the content, I've started to say, like, hey, how was the last week? What did you deal with? Who did you talk to?
Sure.
And in the last week, over Thanksgiving, I got on the phone with a guy in Virginia who brought mom on the phone. So this guy's slightly older than me, mid-40s. Mom is on the phone, and they had been watching videos, ours and other people's, and he was so happy to have me on the phone like I'm some sort of celebrity. And I'm saying, look, we got to get this money right so we can plan the right legacy from mom down to you and the kids. Any significant calls from you this week around the country?
Well, it's crazy that you said that, because yesterday I actually chatted with a young lady who also had her mom on the phone.
Okay.
So we have, people were around the parents for the holidays. You got to assume as we finish the year out here, 2024. And you know what's funny about that is because last week on our podcast episode, we actually chatted about paying your kids appropriately. We talked all about that. So I don't know if we were speaking it into existence or what, right? But this last week I chatted with somebody and they had their mom on the phone also. They were also watching videos. At the end of the call, they said something really interesting to me. I thought it was fun. They said, "We will read anything you send." And I said, okay, because I always send helpful links.
Yeah.
If people are like, hey, I need to know more information. I'm not exactly sure. What should I read next, look at next, watch next? I normally send links.
Yep.
All right, cool. So here's the link for this. Here's the link for that. Depending on sometimes what they ask questions about, here's the link for what you said there or what you asked there. And this family said, no. We will read anything you send us. That's what we do. And I went, oh, okay. Well, then I'll send you a bunch of things to read if you're going to read them.
Love it.
And they were like, thank you. Everybody need to read it.
People,
like,
different strokes for different folks.
Yeah. So that was
now
fun.
I'm a reader, and you've become a reader in the last couple
I've become a listener. I can read. I don't prefer it.
Now, what I don't want to do is read emails. I've got to read something tactile, meaning I need an actual book.
Here's the problem.
I can listen, but I need an actual book.
With reading.
I'm not reading it off a screen.
I can't do more than one thing if I read. If I have to sit there and read like a book, I have to sit there and read. If I listen, I can do more than one thing. I can listen effectively. I will not miss things or not have not heard it.
Right.
And also do the dishes, and also cut the grass, and also drive the car. And I can do two things. So I'm just like, I'm not reading. It takes up too much.
Elon drives your car, first
time.
off.
Yeah, it's nice too. But
for me, I like to, it's when I'm reading.
Lately.
It's when I'm reading. So early in the morning, early in the evening, just before supper time. So at night also, as I'm winding down, it's better for me to not to be in that blue screen. Blue light.
You got to put them blue light glasses on. If you know, you know.
You got to get blue blockers. Just read a book. So anyway, however you want to take us in, ladies and gentlemen, in 2025, we're definitely going to expand our reading materials for you. It's a pipe dream right now, but I know because we're able to utilize a great new staff of performers with great responsibilities around here, as well as artificial intelligence. We can get you show notes. We can get you blog posts, better emails. If you're a reader, you're going to be able to be a leader around here.
I love it. So before we jump into our episode, I think that it's pretty fun to do our shout out, right? We've always got a shout out of somebody who wanted to step into the boxing ring with us, if you will.
I see where you're going with that.
Do you like that?
It was a B-.
Yeah, it was fine. And this week, we want to give a big shout out to our fan follow of the week. It's a YouTube subscriber. The name is going by Blessed and Creative. The handle, give the handle a try there.
Opal Denja.
80.
80. Oh, yeah.
There you go.
Well, I knew how to say the 80.
Yeah, okay. Well, anyway, we want to give a big shout out to our fan follow of the week. I don't know the name, but Blessed and Creative, thank you for following and following along. A lot of times when you just subscribe, you're probably going to watch one or two or three recent videos. And so if you're watching this video and you realize that we just gave you a shout out, why don't you leave a question in the comments or give us a thumbs up? So that way we can come back and answer your questions if you have them, or we can say what's up, or you can at least acknowledge that, hey, we gave you a shout out. So we appreciate you subscribing. Thank you for doing so. And now it's time to talk a little bit about liquidity.
Let's get into our topic of the day.
Liquidity.
Lead us on.
So before we jump in, I've got a couple of quotes I want to give to you and to the audience.
Okay.
I want to see your thoughts on the quotes. Okay. So here's the first one. Liquidity is the lifeblood of financial flexibility. It ensures your ability to act rather than to react. What do you think about that?
Ooh, I like that a lot. And here's why. Number one, cash is not king. We've always heard that. Dave Ramsey has told many of us who are conscious of our budgets, trying to get out of debt, cash is king. And we've started to learn, especially folks like myself, who went through baby step 1 or baby step 2, AKA getting out of debt, getting out of consumer debt. Wow. Cash is not king. I now operate in cash. I have some cash, and every other Friday when I spend my cash, I'm broke. I need cash flow. Money is churning in and out like crazy.
Money's in motion.
So that's number one. That was the first half of the idea right there. Now the second half about opportunities. I don't know if that's a word you said. Read me that second sentence again.
It was liquidity is the lifeblood of financial flexibility. It ensures your ability to act rather than to react.
Boom. Opportunities, ladies and gentlemen. So when money is in your warehouse, and liquid, you can jump on opportunities. Everybody knows that what you should do is buy when there's blood in the streets.
Yep.
That's when you buy.
Yep.
Okay, I'm not sure who said that, but that's like 18th century.
Yeah.
I think that's a Rothschild quote.
Okay.
You buy when there's blood in the streets. When everybody else goes nuts, you buy it up. Because when everybody goes back to normal, the economy starts churning again, things go up in value.
You own it all.
You own it all, and you also bought it at the cheapest price.
Yep.
So you're not going to be able to do that unless you have liquidity, unless your dollars are actually able to gettable. And most people are operating only in able to gettable dollars from their paycheck last week.
That's right.
Everything else they can't get to. They put savings in weird places. They put retirement in funny places.
You know what's crazy about that quote that you just mentioned? It looks like it was a Nathan Rothschild quote.
I told you, boy.
Yeah.
I told
just
you.
talking about them.
Yes.
That's crazy.
Right.
Right. So you know what's crazy about this? When we first started,
Well, shout out to Will, our producer, who just gave us who showed us that.
Yeah.
First off, he put it on the screen for us.
Nathan Rothschild.
I told you it was old school too. It's 18th century. I told you that's a Rothschild quote. Blood in the streets.
I'm glad you got it.
My man.
So here's the crazy part. When we first started our infinite banking policies, I don't know if you remember this, but for a while in there, I was calling the cash value usable cash or spendable cash.
I've heard you say that a lot. Yeah.
And the reason I did that is because I worked really hard when I was working before starting policies to save up a bunch of money, but I didn't want to spend it because I worked really hard to save it up.
Yes.
And I realized that, like, if I spend this money, I don't have this money anymore. Therefore, I didn't want to spend it, right?
Right.
And when I got the policies...
The miser, the penny pincher, right? I didn't know what to do.
It gave me the ability... Right, it's like the permission slip. The policy gave me the permission slip to afford myself to be able to spend money. But it was important that I was spending cash value, not what I earned.
So shout out to our guy, Dr. Tom Wall, who wrote Permission to Spend, that book. Because what whole life insurance gives you is the permission to go ahead and be flexible, jump on opportunities,
That's right.
to take over bills and payments when other things are not doing well in the market. Your whole life is permission to spend.
Yep.
Because you're not going to lose.
What about this quote? Money without accessibility is like a car without fuel. It has potential, but it can't take you anywhere when you need it most.
That one is for my 40-somethings, 30-somethings, and 20-somethings, because that one is very simple. Everyone understands what that means.
Yep.
That's for people who are just starting to try to understand. If we can meet you where you are, you understand this. If you got a great car, muscle car, sitting in your garage that you're afraid to drive, won't drive, doesn't have fuel, we're just looking at it.
That's right. It's got great potential, but if I actually needed it, right, because life happened and I needed to get somewhere, I got nothing. I got absolutely nothing. So here's the problem with what we've got going on in America today. Most people place their money in places that immediately eliminate the liquidity.
Immediately eliminate the liquidity. That's a bold statement.
Immediately eliminate the liquidity. Okay. And they place it there for the potential of it to grow. No guarantee.
Potential of returns.
Yeah, potential of return. No guarantee on return. Potential of return. And they give up all their liquidity. And they go back to what you mentioned earlier. The only liquidity is what shows up every other Friday or every Friday from the check.
Right.
That's it.
And that's not a lot. Everybody out there is spending 90 to 105% of their paychecks. Yep. So you don't have any liquidity.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
So here's the crazy part about that. Now, most people have, we talked about this on a previous episode, most people have money, but it's locked up.
There we go.
Right? And so what I pulled today is the average 401k balances by age.
Okay.
So I want to ask you and see how close you can get.
Oh, okay. I see you turning the screen, so I can't see it.
So our first age group are the 20-year-olds. All right, so this is 20, 21, all the way to 29. All right.
Oh, got it. The decade of 20s.
The decade of 20-year-olds. What do you believe is their average? So this is not every single person, right? Some people are going to have no money. Some people are going to have...
Most of them are going to have no money. I'm already going with that.
Sure. But what do you think their average 401k balance is?
So first off, we are going to have a median that's lower because I don't even think most people in their 20s have a 401k until they're probably 23.
I can tell you the
First off.
I do have the median balance as well. If you want to take a guess,
There we go.
I've got
Yeah.
an average balance and a median balance.
Okay, so
this.
which
And-
one is going to be lower? Help me understand again.
The
It's going to
median
be
balance is going to be lower.
Yeah, median will be lower. So I think median balance. I don't care about average, right? I'm going to say median balance. This is who is saying this?
This is actually
Is this fake news?
this is annuity.org.
Okay.
Is the one who's saying this. I've also got it pulled up on Investopedia.
All right.
I love Investopedia has really good definitions. I like that it's called Investopedia.
Yeah.
And then they have good definitions for
Good
stuff.
wiki
Yep, yep.
almost.
And I also went to wealthmanagement.com.
I'm saying 17,000.
17,000 average 401k balance by age. You are too high. One more
I
guess.
am too high.
One
Okay.
more guess. Yeah.
I am too high. Okay. I'm going to go with. I'm going to make a dramatic dip over 50% and go with 7,500.
The average 401k balance for the 20-something-year-old is $10,500.
Okay. I believe that.
The
Totally believe that.
median balance, in case you wanted to know
Median,
that,
I'm going to go with 19.
1,900.
19,000. No, no, that's average. So median's lower
Yeah,
than
yeah,
10,000. I'm going to go with 75.
Median balance is 1,700.
Yikes. I believe it, but yikes.
Yep.
I knew it was, yeah.
So here's the key.
I told you. Well, first off, we got to almost eliminate people.
You've gotta set the
assuming
scene.
that they don't even have it.
You've got to
until
set the
they're
scene because
23.
people aren't doing 401ks until they get the job.
Yeah.
They're
So
going to get the
assuming
job
yeah.
at 22, 23, 24.
And
right?
even if we're only taking into account people who do have them, which who knows?
Sure.
Who
And a
do
lot of-
have them.
Yeah, some people are opting out and all this other stuff, right? But the key here is, like we kind of just mentioned, is if you're contributing to these plans, you're immediately giving up liquidity. I mean, I don't think that we need to walk through exactly how the 401k works. I mean, we can,
I don't think we need to on this one.
but
Here's a question for my folks who are above my age. I turned 40 in 2024. And I have a question out there for people. I think there's two groups of people out there who have 401ks who are older than me that I'm going to pose you the question.
All right, I'm
but you
ready.
got to pretend that you're older than me.
that's fine.
I've challenged you a few times on this podcast right here because I'm like, look, you're acting like everyone's your age.
Sure.
Okay, so I don't want you to do that for this particular scenario.
I'm ready.
Here it is. Would you rather? I know your answer, I think. But you got to be two people
Okay.
who are not you
Okay.
and you.
All right.
Would you rather have locked up money to save for retirement? We know that as invest
Okay.
in 401ks. And then when you turn 55, you're within 5 years of being able to draw without penalties.
Okay.
Your kids are out of the house.
Okay.
The question is, would you rather have that pool of money, nest egg, that you kind of see coming, you realize you need, sitting there, hope it doesn't go down or backward, now that Trump's back?
Yep.
Or would you rather have bought cash flowing assets with the money when you were 25?
So this is a good question. And my answer, I have an answer.
Right.
I'll come back to my answer. Here's the answer I think that most people are going to have. So first, I'm gonna lump it in and just kind of think out loud for everybody who's listening. So I'm 32. If I'm pretending that I'm older, what I have to pretend is that I grew up in a completely different generation, a generation that does not see streamers and YouTubers and real estate professionals make millions of dollars in seconds. I come from a generation where I was taught to work hard to put the money in those plans.
Fair.
And that's what I know. That's
Right.
what that was intrinsically taught to me
We
by
just
my
had
parents. And I saw
we
my
just had
parents do
Thanksgiving
it.
with mom, right?
That's right.
Mom just hit 60, so you have to realize that mom doesn't know who I Show Speed is.
Yeah.
And Mr. Beast.
So here's what I'm saying. If you still are believing and come from the thought process of what you grew up being taught and what your parents did, it's going to make me feel more comfortable to have the money sitting knowing it's coming at 55. However, if you have read any personal development or finance book, you can come off of that idea pretty quickly. and realize, man, I'd just rather own my house and the neighbor's house and the next house over.
You make a really
flow.
good point, because I think most of our listeners are in that place you just mentioned. They are actually hearing and digesting our content in the early stages.
Yeah.
And they jump ship really quickly because they go, wait a minute, nest egg isn't really performing, working, or is not even smart.
Yep.
It is liquidity, but they're just having those epiphanies.
Yeah. So here's the thing. I mean, it's very similar to any situation. So think this through. My parents did. I watched these people. I have people I look up to who use the nest egg approach. I've been using the nest egg approach. I'm older. I've been using the nest egg approach for 10, 15, 20 years.
What longer than that?
I'm realizing I don't know
years.
if I love it. I've now read my first book, watched my first YouTube series, listened to my first influencers who are now telling me, guys, go get cash flow. This stuff isn't working. But I have yet to figure out what exactly me personally, on a personal level, need to do or change before I abandon this. I'm not
100%.
abandoning it. I want to do something different, but no chance I'm abandoning it
because
until I figure it out.
I have not learned. This person has not learned what it takes outside of the W-2,
Right.
where their 401k has been, or their IRA. They have not figured out what I'm supposed to be involved in. I thought that I was looking for more pay at my job.
Yep.
And a better...
Yeah, and things sound good.
Yeah.
Real estate sounds really good.
I got on this call.
But I don't know who does it in my town, and I don't know who can help me. And
it's risky.
Don't you have to
it's
have
risky when you don't know.
Yeah, and I don't know.
So I told you about 2 or 3 weeks ago, 2 or 3 podcasts ago, about the lady who had the exact epiphany you just mentioned, called me up for a free cash consultation. That's how we do it around here. And said, I got so mad when I realized how banks make money and how they work. They leverage out all our direct deposits.
Yep.
That I took all my money out and it's sitting in a box in my house.
Uh-oh.
No, baby, what you doing?
She jumped. Uh-oh. Hold on. I got this.
I got a bad feeling about this.
Yeah.
A very bad feeling. And she was trying to ask, well, I'm seeing all these people online in this little meetup group that I joined. Doing real estate, and somebody made $1 million last year, and I was like, "Do you have any idea what that person is doing? Because you don't know what it is. You can't explain it to me,
right?
So how do you think you're going to make $1 million? Right. I hope you're that lucky. Stocks. Well, do you think I should get into stocks? That's
investment risk.
But that's all she said. No, that's all she said was the point.
That's all.
Get into what?
Yeah.
Do what?
She didn't know.
Yeah, I was like, do what? You got your money in a box.
Yeah. She about to go. Bitcoin's going up. Maybe I should go. Oh no.
She wasn't that specific.
Oh no, baby.
She wasn't. She was not that specific. Oh,
Ain't nobody got time for that.
Right.
You don't have. You have. The only thing you should be doing is working harder and up your skill. You need to up your skill right now because you don't have any skills to even understand what stocks are doing, how you'd be involved. There's many ways to get involved with this. So anyway, I loved the epiphany that you just gave. They see it, they believe it, and they don't know where they should be shifting to.
Yep.
That's big. We got to create content around that.
That's how people do with anything. There are some people who are early adopters and they're just going to go for it. And again, a lot of people who are early adopters, they come from a mental place or they were taught coming up that you can move around a lot.
Growth.
Right? I can grow. I can move.
I can learn things. I can grow.
But there's a lot of people who aren't. That's why they live in the same town they grew up and they've never left the state. They've never gone on a plane. They don't. That's not. Those are not the people who are going to.
I've also recently had some great conversations with great people who are stuck in that mindset, not because of their own fault, but because they were a matriarchal caregiver.
Yeah.
So it's like, I was taking care of family members. Now I'm 50, 60 years old. And what
am I supposed to do?
Yeah, I got 10 years, 15 years, and my skills are domestic. Yep. They're not even marketplace skills.
Yep. Yeah. All right, let's go back to our list. Let's figure out how much money is being locked up unliquid by the average American.
Unliquid?
Illiquid. That's what. It's the same thing. How much money is illiquid being locked up? And let's talk about that. Americans have this money. They have it, but they've locked it. And we think that you've got to have it liquid in order to capitalize on the opportunity. So, okay, so we did the 20. So 30 to 39, the 30-year-old decade there. How much is the average 401k balance for that group of people? 30 to 39.
Average 28?
38. 38.4.
38.4.
All right.
Okay.
40 to 49. 40 to 49.
61.
Average 93.
Yeah, I knew it was a big jump.
It was going to be a big jump.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. I mean, so you've now got that in your brain. 50 to 59. If you're in the 50s, what's the average 401k balance?
240.
160. What about if you're 60? Average 401k balance in your 60s?
240.
182.
Yikes.
And 70s.
Y'all can't live off this.
70s, 70 to 79.
But you feel like it's a lot of money. But
average 401k balance. Now, so we've
required
been going
minimum
up.
distributions.
There you go. I just wanted to make sure you knew that once you get to 70, you could have taken some.
80,000.
171.
Okay. All right.
171. So here's what's crazy about that. Back to our quotes here, this top of the episode. I've got one more for you here. This is inspired by Warren Buffett, who is known as one of the best purchasers, investors of our time, and also as a person, you can look it up right now, Google it, on how much money he keeps liquid. That's always in the news. He sold this, it's liquid. He did this, it's liquid. I've seen that post even recently.
Because there was an election.
Yep.
He's
got a bunch of stuff liquid right now. But here's his quote. Holding cash or assets that can be quickly turned into cash is the ultimate strategy for handling both crisis and opportunities.
I love it.
Right?
See, there could be a crisis at an election. Some of you believe there was. And there could be an opportunity at an election. Some of you believe that there were. And Warren Buffett, let's assume that I'm right in hearing that he liquidated a bunch of things. Mm-hmm. He's actually more concerned with not losing money and being ready for the opportunity than he is getting a return on the money just in case things go up. That was a beautiful thing for me to hear recently on some book that I was listening to. It's a lot of people. Oh, it was Money Master the Game. We got to do content on that. Tony Robbins. And that was a great book. It was really long. I finally got to it. And it was not worrying about the upside, just making sure you don't have a downside. Liquidate when there is a potential change and shift in the market, like people's confidence in the system through a presidential election. And if it goes up while you liquidated, who cares?
Yep.
I'm now ready to get back in the game, and I didn't lose, and you can't outwin your losses.
That's right.
A lot of people don't understand that. Whoa, we'll get into that on different episodes.
No
Check out Sequence of Returns. You just can't outwin your losses. So don't lose. Don't lose money. That's a Warren Buffett quote.
This is in Warren's own words, right, on the importance of holding cash. In his own words, he says the number one thing that you need is liquidity, and then opportunity. So he's talking about Berkshire Hathaway, his company, but he says holding cash provides Berkshire Hathaway with liquidity, allowing the company to swiftly capitalize on lucrative investment opportunities as they arise. In uncertain times, maintaining substantial cash reserves enables flexibility and strategic maneuverability.
Okay, so Jonah, I love that.
Yep.
So let's get into where people's money is and remind them about the issues with that liquidity there.
Yeah.
Okay, I think we've convinced them at this point that having money locked up that you hope will grow, that will be taxable, could be a major problem to your later years.
So here's where people keep their money. So you're asking, where do people keep their money now where it is liquid? And what are the problems with where they're keeping it?
Where it's not liquid.
Oh, where it's not liquid. So people keep their money in the retirement plans, government-sponsored plans, significant amount. I recently listened to a podcast episode where they said that the most money that the government is holding, actual dollars, is in the retirement plans, the government-sponsored plans, the 401ks and the IRAs. That's where the most money is. And then this podcast specifically went on to say, and with the government being so far in debt, where do you think they're coming for the money first? Like they're going to change some rules here because that's where all the money is. which I thought, ooh, that's interesting, right? I don't know that to be true, but I thought it was interesting. What I think is interesting is people do understand the value of liquidity, but they don't know where to put the money. And that's one of the things that we can absolutely help you with. And the reason that you're here, you're listening to our podcast or watching us on this video, because a lot of people try to keep their money in savings accounts. It's liquid there.
Right.
And then they realize very quickly that that's a trash place to keep the money. Do you know anyone who's got like a crazy high balance in their savings account? Most people realize that I don't keep it there.
Well, I think a lot of people do. We talk to a lot of people.
Sure.
So I think there are plenty of people that do hold money there. I don't think that those people are going to be our age or younger.
No one's fighting for their savings account, though. You realize that? If something comes up and someone offers or says, "Why consider this, consider that, consider this," no one fights for their savings account. No. I got it. It's in the savings. Chase got me right in my savings account. No one fights for that.
Once again, I think the people that save money in banks are going to be older than us.
Sure.
And the people who are younger probably have less, number one, but they wouldn't do that.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying, a lot of people have their liquidity sitting in savings accounts. A more learned, if you will, from last episode.
That's true. Learned hand.
Right. A more learned person is probably going to have a significant amount of liquidity inside of their home, like home equity lines of credit, which again, a lot of that is tied to a bank, but that's where their liquidity is going to be. Of course, if you're listening to us, we're encouraging you to keep your liquidity inside of specifically designed whole life insurance policies. We practice the infinite banking concept where we've got the ability to earn income, earn money, place it into the whole life insurance policies, and then have the insurance company give us the liquidity. Which means we can do two things at the same time. We can save our money and we can spend the insurance companies, right? So that means we can stay liquid at all times. We don't have to worry about, like I talked about earlier, saving up a bunch of cash and then like, oh no, I don't want to spend it because it's gone. And then when it's gone, I'm illiquid. Right?
Yep.
And that's a humongous deal. So that's a little bit about what we wanted to walk you through on this episode. You got any closing thoughts for him?
I do. I want everybody out there to consider this. In the new year, where should you shift your mental focus to now that you've got some of the tools in your mind? We talked about utilizing life insurance, which is a guaranteed contractual ability to grow and cash flow your dollars. Do you think that you should potentially shift your thinking to keep your money there, to save your money there? Those two words are not spelled INVEST. If you keep or save your money there, literally buying insurance, paying for it, that's the cost, premium, you will have a growth and cash flow ability to stay liquid with dollars for the rest of your whole life. Then you'll be able to waterfall that method down to your family members moving forward. Let's have a conversation about that very soon. We'll talk to you in 2024 or 2025.
You are now tuned to the banking bros. Said we couldn't make it, drink or settle, this the life we chose. Gave a lot of game, we never got a lot of things. Bow your head and say the prayer, we taught you how to be the bank.
If you've always thought that saving money is awesome, but then I have to spend it and then I don't have it anymore and that makes me illiquid, and how in the world do I use the cash that I've earned to capitalize on the opportunities, then what you've got to do is take a listen to our last episode. We talk all about keeping your money liquid and the best place to leave your money in order to do so. So join us at the Banking Bros podcast to learn more. You can book your free cash consultation call and talk with us if you need to. We'd be more than happy to walk you through saving your money and spending someone else's, staying liquid.